St. Mary's in traction. They did the external surgery Sunday night, and they're going to have to operate on his leg.
Oh,
And then, of course,
boy.
there's the first gentleman. Did Bob fall on the ice?
No, he slipped on some wooden stairs in his socks. Bob broke his ankle in 3 places on Friday. So,
Here, Mayor, we're ready to go.
okay. Lots of broken bones in Winona. So is Doug?
I have not seen him in yet, but I'll let him in when I see him.
Okay. All right. I would like to call to order the Monday, March 1st meeting of the City of Winona Finance and Personnel Committee. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Alder Thomas,
Here.
Mayor O'Connor,
Here.
Alder Wood will be arriving soon.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the February 15th meeting?
So move.
I will second. Any corrections or additions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are approved. There are no appearances. There is no unfinished business. First item under new business, item 6A, consideration of resolution 21-3-2469, approval of a 3-month police school resource officer agreement between the City of Winona, the Winona Grove School District, and the Village of Cottage Grove.
Move approval.
Okay, and I will second.
There was one addition that was made at Public Safety. They talked about it, and the current officer, there is a national resource officer training, and he's received it, but they thought that it ought to be a condition of any other going forward, any other agreements with the school district that the police officer received the resource officer training.
Okay, yeah, we should make a note of that. Because it will be Luke, right? This time we'll continue. I just got a text from Doug that his computer is being really slow and he's hoping to join us soon. So, okay, Kathy, did you have anything else about this?
No, Public Safety recommended that there was just the one issue about going forward to ensure that they take the, and Sarah, remind me, who offers the resource training?
It's called NASRO, so it's National Association of School Resource Officers.
Okay. We had a motion on that, right, Joan?
Yes.
I made a motion on it.
Mhm.
I guess if there's nothing else, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'll say aye as well. Next item, consideration of resolution 21-3-2471, amending the capital budget for the installation of B-cycle stations at Grand Crossing Park and Schluter Park. Is there a motion to approve this? Do you want to make a motion, Kathy, or no?
Oh, so move. I'm watching, I got this message that says my internet connection is unstable.
Oh, okay. I will second. Let's do gremlins in Winona tonight. Jake, you want to?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. So as you may recall, we had funding approved in the 2020 capital budget for installation of B-cycle at Grand Crossing Park. That was in October, November-ish. At that time, we were meeting with some potential private investors for additional funding for that station. At that time in 2019, we were quoted at roughly $60,000 for 2 stations plus $10,000 a year operating. And we had committed to $15,000 at that time. Over the course of 2020 and COVID, at the time, the private investors that we thought might be interested were not. Summer 2020 came and went and reconnected with Madison B-Cycle, came back with a proposal, took it to Parks Board. And then Parks Board in the beginning of February meeting asked for a better offer or a better proposal, and Madison B-Cycle came back with this latest proposal. So city would be paying for the installation fee of $22,500, and then there's an annual operating fee for 3 years, $4,000 at Grand Crossing Park, which has been supported by businesses at the current and Grand Crossing Park area, and then $3,000 at Schluter, which if approved, we were confident that we would be able to roll into our current sponsorship and advertising program. If not, we could absorb it into our Grand Crossing expense account. I did speak with B-Cycle members today. There was some rush to try to get this installed with our grand opening in March 15th. Based on conversations, they're willing to forego the single read requested tonight at City Council for a 2-read meeting.
I think that would be good.
So,
Kathy, go ahead.
Jake, go through so Schluter is an addition. Go through the funding on that, because it looks to me like we're going to use some borrowing that was not initially designated for that. And, I have, it's one of we all have our little things, and my things are, if you're under budget, doesn't mean you get to spend it for something else. So you gotta convince me that it's
Sure.
a good thing to do.
So Schluter really, if I was recommending a specific location for B-Cycle in Winona, Schluter would be the one. Schluter is the more desirable for the majority of our residents to be able to access B-Cycle. B-Cycle themselves are throwing in 4 free bikes because they want to be able to beta test a charging station. So instead of $3,000 annually, which would get us, 8 bikes or 7 bikes, we're getting 10 bikes at Schluter and the opportunity to have them test out some new technology that they have for their charging stations. So I think the long-term goal was always going to be 2 stations. It was just, we were trying to work on a donor or sponsor for the Grand Crossing station at Grand Crossing Park. So that was kind of a package deal that B-Cycle looked in, because I do believe a lot of our conversations with a sponsor and advertising have been centered around Grand Crossing Park. But I think Madison B-Cycle certainly looks at both locations as good opportunities to fulfill the network. And I believe it would give our residents greater access to have both stations in Winona.
And we think there's sufficient parking.
Yeah, I mean, at Grand Crossing, during construction, it may be a little tight, but I would assume.
I'm worried about Schluter.
Oh, yeah, Schluter with on-street parking at Waterman, and then what's in the lot is sufficient.
And how many bikes is it total, Jake? Is it 18?
22.
22, okay. Well, I certainly see a lot of those e-bikes riding by my house, coming from Madison. Do you have any other questions, Kathy?
No,
Okay.
I will approve it to move it forward. I'm not convinced about using the money that was not borrowed for this purpose, but I will approve it to move it forward, and I'll listen to the discussion.
Okay. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next item C, consideration of resolution 21-3-2466, award of contract for the Stonebridge Park Improvement Project. Is there a motion to approve this?
So move.
I'll second. Who's going to talk first? Dan?
Yep, I'll start it out, and then Jake will probably add in when I'm done with my summary.
Okay.
We opened bids on February 18th for this project. We had 3 contractors that supplied bids. Joe Daniels Construction provided the low bid. The amount was $731,543.75. There's a bid alternate for the community center work that came in at $22,845. The capital budget has a total combined allocation of $864,000. I know on the resolution that figure that we have of 829, that has since been updated since the fiscal note was completed. This agenda item will also be on the March 3rd Public Works Committee meeting for their recommended approval. And we'll bring it back for the second reading at the March 15th City Council meeting. The project has a substantial completion date of August 15th. Final payment would be due by that date as well for this particular project. As far as the stormwater portion goes, the main feature that we're doing is installing what's called a storm trap sedimentation basin. It's going to be a 68-foot by 55-foot underground stormwater basin that accounts for the 100-year flood. And as far as the stormwater goes, we are eligible for up to $356,000 in stormwater grants, depending on the final cost for the stormwater portion. Jake, do you want to add anything?
No, I think you got it all, Dan. This project also includes the loading dock construction at the community center as well. So we bid both those projects together. There was an alternate bid for some work on sidewalks and reorienting the entrance on the senior center side. I'd probably recommend that we hold off on that one till second read to see what the bids for the Pagoda Top come in at. Pagoda Top is due on this Friday, I believe. So as far as an overall budget or the savings from the parks budget, if needed for the restoration of the Pagoda Top, I think we'd make a recommendation at that time.
So right now, Jake, because this might come up later, how much exactly is the park part of this? The Stonebridge part of this? I'm looking at, it's the site improvement number, the park improvement and site restoration.
Correct.
And then
So it's the 103 and it's the, so there's a total of 306,473. Subtract the 45,000 for the city, community center access. And that's what your number is.
So it's about 260 for the park portion. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yes.
good.
Just so I kind of walk through the numbers in case this comes up later too. So a total of 731,000 we have in here with the park and stormwater. That does not include the alternative bid. Engineering is combined 49,000. Each of them have contingency of 64,000 and some pagoda and some other direct costs of 2,900. So in the budget for the parks, we're at 420,500, which is made up of the two numbers: Stonebridge park improvements of 335,000 and 85 from the loading docks. So we're under budget. We're by 44,000 there. For the stormwater, we budget 443,000. What that number is too is we budgeted money for 2021, but also in 2020 we budgeted for engineering. So engineering was for the engineering for the 39,000. So that's why it's added. And if you look at the 2021 budget, you need to add in the engineering that was carried over from last year to get to the 443,000. So we're $54,000 short than what we technically budgeted. So I kind of broke it out underneath that. So we're like 54,000 under or over. So $29,000 we will increase our grant from what we budgeted in the 2021 budget. We would need to borrow 25,000. I would hold off on borrowing that because, like I said, we have $34,000 contingency, and also I believe, talking to Dan on Friday, the strand number for engineering, 39,000 is actually 30,000 now. There's a $9,000 savings there, so it brings it down to basically, $16,000 or $15,000 over. So I'd kind of wait on that. We are over in another account in the stormwater. So I don't think we need to borrow that extra 15 or 25,000. I think we're okay. I don't know if the contingency will come in 34,000 or not. So I don't know if that all makes sense to you.
Wait on that for now we won't borrow for that.
I don't believe we need to borrow for it.
Any questions? Kathy?
No,
No.
I'm fine.
Looked like Doug was here for a little while, but then he disappeared, so. Okay, well then, if there aren't any further questions, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Thank you.
Next item, consideration of resolution 21-3-2467, award of contract for the Gateway Green Stormwater Improvement Project. Is there a motion to approve this?
So move.
I will second. Dan?
Okay, thank you, Mayor. The bid opening for this project was the same date, February 18th. We had 3 contractors supply bids. Hamburg provided a low bid for $799,008.50. We have a capital budget total of $1,166,375. This will also go to the March 3rd Public Works Committee meeting for recommended approval, and then coming back to City Council for the second reading for approval on March 15th. The substantial completion date for this project is August 1st, and the completion is set for August 15th. There's 2 portions of this project. We will be replacing this storm main from Bartles to the Pirate Island Channel. That will be the phase 1. That has to be completed before they move on to the second phase. That second phase is replacing the storm sewer between Gateway Green and Sylvan. And then also with that, we're replacing the sanitary sewer. Reason being for that is the sanitary sewer sits directly below the storm sewer. And as long as we're replacing storm at this time, we're going to replace sanitary. That'll be protected. And then the main feature there is a 4-foot by 8-foot by 273-foot storm box culvert that will convey stormwater from Gateway Green to Sylvan. So we have two big storm mains that will be replaced with this project. The main driver here is the flooding that we experience on Gateway Green near Christie Circle. It has an overland route through somebody's garage, around their garage, through the backyards, and this project is supposed to take care of that. We'll have high capacity inlets on Gateway Green that will feed the 4-foot by 8-foot storm box. It'll convey the storm water through there. It's going to daylight on Sylvan. There's going to be a trench grate on Sylvan where the storm water is going to daylight, and it's going to utilize the curb and gutter system to then transfer down to the Pirate Island Channel. The curb and gutter system is the way that the stormwater is supposed to flow when there isn't storm main. So when we first looked at this project 3 years ago, there was a $3 million cost to this by upsizing all the storm main all the way down the Pirate Island Channel. And we refocused and basically said, let's use the existing infrastructure that works, and that's the curb and gutter. So we brought that cost down, obviously down to right around $800,000 by simply rerouting that stormwater and using the system the way it's supposed to be used. So that's what we have for the Gateway Green Storm Project. We've been in touch with the 6 properties that are affected by these storm main replacements. I think that's about it for my summary.
I'm assuming they're pretty happy.
Yes.
Them anyway, Kathy?
Yeah, I was going to say, kudos, Dan. These people have been, I mean, I'm surprised they haven't stormed City Hall, because I got to say it's been that way for what, 15, 20 years? I mean, years and years.
About at least 25, yeah.
Wow.
And it was just too expensive. So they had water running through there. I mean, I'd have sued the city a long time ago if I'd have been them. So I thank you, Dan, because they must be have a smile on their face when they see you guys coming around.
Yep, I think the Proctors are quite happy. But you know, I think the component of this that might catch people by surprise is when that the stormwater flows daylight on Sylvan. There's going to be a trench grate that goes the full width of the road where this water is going to come out of the ground, and it's designed that way. if you were to put a 4-foot by 8-foot pipe all the way down to Pirate Island, you're looking at over a $3 million cost. So the system that's already in place, the curb and gutter, when that water daylights, it's gonna flow right to the curb and gutter. It's gonna use the curb and gutter to go the rest of the way. But the folks on Sylvan, where it's gonna daylight, they're aware of that. But for those that are gonna be driving by, when there's a rain event, they're gonna be like, why is there water coming out of the ground? But it's designed that way.
Okay.
So it'll be interesting when we see it work for the first time.
Any idea why the bid came in so much lower than the estimate?
I can't speculate for the Hamburgs, but I think they were hoping to get both the projects, the Stonebridge Park and the Gateway Green. And they're from Winona, and I know when it comes to the bigger projects for Winona, they like to sharpen the pencil and try and get the hometown work.
Okay.
But I think either one of the contractors that would have got it besides Hamburg would have been fine as well. So,
Well, it's good news to see that number so much lower.
yes.
Doug, talking about the Gateway Green project, I don't know if you're able, if you have any questions or if you're able to, it still says connecting audio below your picture on my screen, so. I'm not sure if he's talking.
Are you talking, Doug? Because we can't hear you.
Yeah.
Probably the
Well,
best we-
Go ahead and ask his questions in the council meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next item, consideration of resolution 21-3-2468, award of contract for the water tower painting project. Is there a motion to approve this?
So moved.
I'll second. Dan again.
Okay, thank you. This one again was opened on February 18th. We had 9 bidders, and there was V&T Painting is the low bidder that I'm presenting for recommended approval. They had a low bid of $68,500. We had a $5,000 bid for alternate number 1. And there was also an alternate number 2 that will be going to the Public Works Committee as well, and that's to put the Winona word on the tower. At a minimum, I'm seeking approval for the painting and alternate 1, and we'll see what comes out of the recommendation for alternate number 2. LC United did provide the low bid at the opening, but they were basically disqualified because they failed to account for the $15,000 cash allowance that was required in the base bid. That cash allowance was for to repair any damages that would occur to the asphalt driveway. The roadbed and the asphalt is very thin, and the last time there were heavy trucks that went up there, there was damage. So they did not account for that, so they did not provide a complete bid. And this was ran by Attorney Cole, and he is on board with going to the second low bid, which is the V&T Painting, and their low bid again was $68,500. Substantial completion for this project is July 15th, and final completion is July 31st. A few other components that are part of this project. In both water towers, there's an internal ladder system. The fall protection is being replaced in both towers. So that's, we're putting a modern, we have to wear harnesses and lanyards when we climb those towers. It's just an updated fall protection in case we would slip and we have a way to, I guess, not fall. The paint scheme for the painting would be a 2-tone color, similar to what you see on the large blue water tower. And there's going to be some interior spot repair as needed. The interior was painted in 2015. We don't anticipate much work to be done on the inside. As far as the exterior goes, there will be power washing, surface preparation. They do have to use a vacuum to recover any dust that's generated through the surface prep. And they have to apply the exterior coatings by roller. So there should be minimal overspray, hardly any overspray with that, and the requirement to do the work on low wind days. So we don't anticipate hardly any problems with any overspray of any type on this tower. So if there is any, it's covered in the contract. It's fully on the contractor to make things right. So that's all I have for this one.
How long's it been since that was painted?
1986.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. Kathy, did you have anything?
I have no questions.
Okay. Doug is now rebooting. We'll probably get on right about the time we adjourn.
Right.
Okay, well then all in favor of approving this project, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Project
Thank
is
you.
approved. Thank you, Dan. We will now move on to acceptance of general funds account payable checks dated February 12th to the 25th, 2021. Documentations of invoices paid is available in the city clerk's office. Mark.
There's not a lot in this one. Just going to hit a couple things. Page 49, Barnes, just the Christmas tree collections that picks up. 208th that is Benestar. It says stringless health insurance. So while he retired, as you know, he pays health insurance using his sick leave conversion. I think he has like a year and a half or so. Page 52, Gunta Law Office. There's 2 claims that they're working on for us. We have not reached our max yet. So once they hit 37,500, then it would go over to Civic. Currently, we are underneath that for both claims. Page 55 is just touching on our Winona Bank as our credit cards. Page 60, there's 3 of them, Dane County Treasurer, Madison Metro, and Monago Schools. These are our February settlements. So what we collect from January 1st to January 31st, we collect it and then we send a report to the county, and the county tells us how much you need to pay each district. This is what we have to pay for each district. With that, you don't see Madison MATC on here, Madison College, because we have to do a wire transfer for them. And I believe that is all I have.
Kathy, any questions?
Nope. Do you want a motion?
Yes, I would.
So move approval, acceptance.
I will second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Boy, I guess I should have gone with Leah's. I will make, Kathy, you want to make a motion to adjourn or?
Yeah, except I have one question that I want to ask you and Brian. Just one of my great frustrations has been when there is underspending on a capital item. We don't have a policy about can they spend it for something like Jake wants to do for tonight. It may be perfectly reasonable, but I don't think it should be an assumption. And I don't think we have a policy, and I've always thought that we should, because when they overspend, we give them more money, but when they underspend, then they spend it on something else. And I think that one of the things that we ought to look at is the policy on what we do with underspending on capital items. And I'm not gonna bring it up, I don't want to bring it up at the general meeting
Okay.
for obvious reasons.
Can I make one comment on that?
Sure.
Usually the policies, it's not a written policy. What I do is the project is completed. It goes into the capital budget fund balance. The reason why we kind of broke that out is just more, it's really coming from the fund balance is what it ends up being. Because that project is completed. That project would have dropped down into the fund balance. So technically it's coming out of the fund balance. I just showed it just to show that there was a project that was coming out that we had money left over, which would be the fund balance is what it actually ends up being.
Well, but it's hard to pay it down if you don't, when you don't spend it, then that's my concern. And
Yeah.
what Jake is proposing to do tonight may be perfectly reasonable. But I think we need to keep a closer eye on what happens to the capital under expenditure and the fund balance.
Okay.
That we should have a policy on it. In case anybody ever asks us.
Okay. Yep, we can work on that. And I think whenever we do make an expenditure like that, it always goes to council, doesn't it?
Correct.
Correct. So it's not that,
Oh, yeah, but it's, if it comes out of, so if it's like something they were going to do that's on the 2022, their 5-year plan,
Mhm.
then when it comes to that, then they just put another item in there. And and I mean, that's what happens, and we end up spending more than we had originally planned. That's my question. So it's hard to catch up when you have underspending. And it's not, I don't mean to pick on parks, because I think it's true for the whole thing. If you underspend, because sometimes you budget high, that's a good thing. But, if you want to spend it, then when you overspend, you ought to take something away, and we shouldn't have to allocate extra money. That's all, that's my,
Okay.
just a thought to think about.
Great, yep. No, we can talk about that. Anybody have anything else to add about that?
I will tell you, I have one other thing in that I got a request from an alder to second a motion to refer the B-bike process to a committee, originally Winona in motion. And I said, well, I prefer it to go, if any place, to a city committee.
Yeah,
But
that's not an official city committee.
just be prepared.
Okay. All right,
I'll move to adjourn.
thanks for the heads up. I will second. We are adjourned. See you all in a